would you take a Rafale or F-22? I know the Rafale pretty well. I've been to combat with a Rafale. If you offer me a F-22, if you give me training on the F-22 and you tell me your mission is air superiority, I might actually take the F-22. I haven't flown it, but it is designed to do it. That's basically almost his only mission. He can do other stuff now, but it is an insane platform.
The F-22 is just, it's not fair when it's fighting against other people, particularly within the visual range. I mean, BVR as well, but within visual range, it's just it's so maneuverable. It's got so much power. I think that aircraft would be a heck of a lot of fun to fly. I remember I was a fairly young wingman in Japan, and the Raptors had come out, and we're doing some air combat maneuvering, so it's 2v1 engagement, and I'm flying. I don't know who it was with. I think it was with a very experienced instructor pilot. So I'm his wingman. The Raptor starts off behind us. We call fights on, and the Raptors knows what he's doing. He was a previous C model guy that had transitioned to the Raptor, and so he knows, like, all right, I'm going to go after the more experienced guy first, take him out, so then I can switch to the young dumb guy that doesn't know what's going on, right? Which was me in this case. So he goes after the flight lead. The flight lead's doing his best, but it's not really a fair fight. They're going downhill, and he's like gunning my flight lead downhill, and I had like somehow, I was a lieutenant, right? So I was like, I don't know how I woke up, and there I was like directly behind him. Right. So I'm staring down at the ground, the ocean, right? Because we're in Japan. So I'm staring at the ocean. I see my flight lead. In front of my flight lead, I see the Raptor tail aspect gunning my flight lead. I go in because I think we had decided that we're going to do a gun only fight for that one, so no missiles. So I'm just like closing in range because I'm at like 4,000 feet. I'm trying to get inside 3,000 feet, and right as I'm about to turn the trigger on, he looks back, he sees me behind him, and he goes from this position where he's pointed down at the ground at flight lead, and he just does this.
Oh Christ!
And then like turns back around, and it was just, I remember being like, this is the most, and there's nothing I could have done. There's absolutely
nothing you do, yeah. You don't know.
And I was like, this is the most unfair fight, which is how you want to fight. Fight a fight when you go to war, right? You want an unfair fight. But it was just the most unfair thing I'd ever seen, and have seen since, when it comes to the air-to-air world. And so,
without going into specific tactical details, why is it so difficult to fight the F-22 in dissimilar BFM?
I mean, the F-22 is just amazing. I mean, honestly, it's got a ton of thrust. It's got thrust vectoring, and it's got the ability to. It's like if you took the F-16 and everything we talked about that's amazing about the F-16, and then combined it with the Hornet, and then made it better than that. Because it's just got the ability to do some eye-watering things, and you're just like, wow, you could tell that when they were designing this thing, they went to some fighter pilots, they're like, okay, so what do you want this thing to do? And they're like, I would like it to be able to turn around and just point at me, and they're like, done. We can figure that out.
We've got that, yeah.
Yeah, got one of those. Oh, I want it to be able to super cruise. Nailed it. We got that too. It's just that the real travesty is that they didn't make more, that they shut down the program, and we only got 187 of them versus, they were going to have like 800 of them, but yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. Having F-15s, sometimes F-16s, and we even, fought against the Raptors, man. Oh, that was the most, memorable fight. And I will never forget the fight with the F-22 Raptors, because it doesn't make sense till today. I cannot figure out, how in the world that guy maneuvered the jet, and he was like, a few seconds, he was right at our tail, man. So,
it's an impressive airplane.
Did you ever get the chance to go up against an F-22?
I haven't personally flown an F-22 against an F-22, but I was on the squadron when we were doing lots of air combat against them, and the day I was due to do it, I can't remember what happened when the aircraft broke and it didn't happen. But I think it's a really good fight. I mean, the F-22 is the best air dominance fighter in the world. Beyond visual range, it's fantastic with its low observable capabilities, and then when it gets into the close fight, it's hugely maneuverable with the thrust vectoring, very, very capable. You really wouldn't want to meet it for real. The Typhoon in the F-22 does have a good fight though, and the Typhoon has got, when it starts at the first merge, when you're rolling in at 450 knots, you've got 9G available and you've got a helm-mounted sight. You're not badly placed in the Typhoon to take a quick shot, but as soon as that fight starts to develop and the aircraft start to lose energy, then the F-22 is really well placed. It's a fantastic machine.
Yeah, absolutely.
One was my favorite airplane, by the way. That was a Super Fox, had a 408 engine, 11,200 pounds of thrust, and that airplane was super light. There was nothing in it. And that thing, when you got to about 2/3 gas, was a rocket ship. It was 1-to-1 thrust to weight at that point. And the airplane could turn really well, fly slow. For those of you who are fighter pilots and fought against it, you know it's flown well. It was an awesome airplane and a rolling scissors. Very difficult to defend against. And in fact, to this day, I'd take an A4 Super Fox and go fight most any airplane out there. Maybe less than F-22, but